All right, Morning Juice, Tito, Bobby, Bodie. It's a Bodie Wednesday. Normally it's a Bodie Thursday. A little thing called Thanksgiving gets in the way of that. We won't have a show tomorrow, but don't worry, folks. We don't want you to miss out on a Bodie Thursday that involves also Your Highness. So we'll make sure we get him in there as well. The CFP rankings came out late last night. I think late last night's the way to put it, Bobby. Bodie and I both participated in the fans the fans YouTube show with we react to the rankings, and we get in there, and we were told start around 7:00. Should last about 30 to 60 minutes for us to do the show, and we log in.
The rankings didn't come out till 7:49,
right.
So that was probably part of the problem.
No, it's what. Yeah, so we were watching. So we log in and everything. We start the show. And then we look up and Bodie says, hey, USC game's got 9 minutes left in it leading into this, the USC Seton Hall game. So, yes, we started very late. But anyway, the rankings did come out. Not really any surprises, I don't think. I mean, there's nothing that really jumped out at me as I can't believe that happened. Ohio State was 1, Indiana 2, A&M 3, Georgia 4, Texas Tech 5. We saw that. Oregon jumped ahead of Ole Miss. Oregon 6, Ole Miss 7. Oklahoma's at 8 now. Brody's Irish. I should say Steve.
Were you surprised? Were you surprised that Oregon jumped ahead of Ole Miss?
I'm not surprised by it. And Ole Miss was off, and so it's all going to work itself out anyway. I think that if you had it the other way, if you kept Ole Miss where they were in Oregon, I wouldn't have a problem with it either. I don't think it's egregious enough to question, if that makes sense. Were you surprised?
Well, I think people were wondering because Oregon had been hanging out towards the back, and they really hadn't been viewed as having a quality win. And then USC kind of came in, I guess, they lost and only dropped 2 spots. So last time I was on XM, I said, well, that's them telling you that they value Oregon now, and that's a quality win because they lost a game on the road by multiple scores in a game that Oregon kind of controlled, I would say, for the most part. Didn't dominate, stretched it a little at the end. But with that comes a flip, and that's fairly significant because you go from playing I guess you're playing Alabama right there, as opposed, they'll be playing the ACC champ.
That's what it looked like, yes.
Which is far different than playing Alabama.
Yes.
So being 4-5 is big, but then being 6-7, I would say, is almost just as big, given the fact that 3 and 4 or 5 and 6 will be playing the Group of 5 champ and the ACC champ. Your next 2 teams up are Alabama and Notre Dame, who are significantly better.
Yes, and so you look at the bracket and look, everything will work itself out. This is all for TV. It's all for ratings. It's all for talking points. But this weekend, there's Miami is sitting out there. They were at 12. And so they could be the ACC champ. There's not a great chance of the ACC champ, and I don't think
there's a terrible chance.
Yeah, it's 14% to even go to the ACC championship game. But
they need so much to happen. It's not even. I don't even mean the percentages. You need a lot of teams to lose. They need teams to win that are big time underdogs. They're not getting there.
So then Miami needs a couple things to happen ahead of them that would give them a shot at getting in. But I think they're a long shot right now. And the big debate with Miami is they've got the same number of losses as Notre Dame, but Notre Dame is 9, Miami is 12. Miami doesn't have, I hate saying great losses, they don't have great losses, whereas Notre Dame's losses are to A&M, who's undefeated there at 3, and Miami, who's sitting there at 12. So I don't know, Bob, how you would rank it, how you would look at it. How important is the head-to-head between Notre Dame and Miami? And do you think that it's being undervalued by the committee?
Let me ask you this. Who do you think's a better football team today?
I think Notre Dame's a better football team today. I do.
Then that's the answer. If I have to listen to these people tell me, and they're like, well, the head-to-head should matter, I go, if they played last week, I think it matters. They played first couple weeks of the season.
Right.
And Miami hasn't looked good. Now, they looked better last week, but it's been a minute since they've looked like a national championship caliber team. And so, people want to get upset about this and complain and, shake their fists at the sky. I'm like, well, if you just would have taken care of your business and not lost games to, average teams.
Right.
Not bad, but average teams. And by the way, there are times where you really didn't look all that good, even in some of your wins, where as Notre Dame, and we can argue who they're playing and what they look like, and as USC, their only great win, whatever. But I'm telling you right now, they smoked Pitt last week or 2 weeks ago. They smoked Syracuse last week. Like, they look like a good football team. Like, they look like one of the best 10 teams in college football, bar none. And people are like, the results on the field should matter. I'm like, they do. And that's why I'm not just taking one result on the field from 10 weeks ago. I'm going to look at all the results I've seen over the last 10 weeks and tell you where teams are trending and how they look.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's interesting about it, Bob, is when you start to decipher this, and I don't like going to the better losses or good loss or bad loss and all that kind of stuff. But there are the two games that could really turn things on its head are Michigan, Ohio State, and Texas A&M.
Oh yeah.
Now, look, I fully expect Ohio State to win this game, obviously, and we'll talk. Like I say, we've been talking about that all week long. But if Texas beats Texas A&M,
is that what we've been talking about?
A little bit that and some baseball stuff. But anyway, but if Texas somehow knocks off Texas A&M, that could really screw things up for a lot of teams.
Well, I think if Georgia Tech knocks off Georgia, that would be interesting too, to see how far Georgia will slide. And they will probably still be both on their way to the CFP. So it's a very, very interesting process that would be looking right there, because you'd have Georgia then in the SEC championship. Still, even though they pick up another non-conference loss, the A&M Texas thing, I think it turns things on its head. I don't anticipate Texas winning that.
No,
but it's a 2.5-point spread. Like, Vegas is saying the quiet part out loud. They think A&M's undefeated and everybody thinks they're good, but if you're putting them on a neutral field against another quality team, all of a sudden they don't look as good anymore. And so, yeah, that's another big piece of it.
Who do you think has a better chance of winning? Texas against A&M or Georgia Tech against Georgia?
Ooh, I would have said Georgia Tech versus Georgia, but after how they looked last week, their defense isn't very good. They put so much on Haynes King. I think Kirby Smart's going to find a way to slow him down. I would say Texas now. Heading into this a couple weeks ago, I would have said Georgia Tech, but that's kind of changed for me.
Texas is they're starting to grow on me a little bit. They're getting better. They're playing better football at the right time. But I was looking at this, so Bob, look at the bracket. And I know, look, it's not going to be the same because stuff's going to change this weekend. But if you gave me a Notre Dame at Oklahoma first-round game with the winner playing Ohio State, sign me up for that.
That would be a great game, very compelling to play, although I don't know if Ohio State would want to play Notre Dame. They're playing as well as anyone right now. One of the other great matchups, which isn't going to happen because Miami isn't going to win the ACC, so them getting in would have to be an at-large, and I can't imagine how that would ultimately look. But Miami and Mario Cristobal heading back to Oregon would be terrific theater. With how he left there, went down to Miami, I don't think anybody believed, if you're at Oregon with all the resources they have and everything they got going for them, that you would ever lose a coach like that. And the fact that Mario Cristobal then went down there and he struggled, and they've had some bad losses. Some of the same things that happened at Oregon happened down there at Miami. So I would love to see that. I would love to see how Autzen, we'll say, embraces him.
Right.
If he were to return with Miami. It's just, that stinks that's going to be probably more of a hypothetical matchup than one that actually exists in the realm of reality.
Ryan Day spoke yesterday, and he talked about how much he looks forward to this week.
Well, I think that goes back to what we talked about, the whole idea of chopping wood and carrying water, and knowing that you just can't hustle to the Saturday after Thanksgiving. You got to play through the year, and there's a lot that goes with it. It's a building process and a foundation. And, we're finally here, so this is the best part of it. We've been waiting a long time to get back to this week. It's interesting to hear you say that. Not that I expect him not to say he looks forward to it, because it is certainly a challenge, though, Bob, this year to try to break this losing cycle in the game against Michigan. And I got to believe, as much as he wants to win one in front of the home fans, if Ohio State gets this win on the road in Ann Arbor, that's got to be almost a sweeter feeling, I think. Don't you think?
Winning up there is amazing. It's 110,000 people going. ghostly silent there right in front of you as you walk off. With everything that they've gone through, all the ups, all the downs, all the highs and all the lows, there will be a certain sweetness to this, I think, if you're able to get it done. And I fully anticipate them getting it done and being able to get a win up there. But winning up there would be great. At home, I think it would be tremendous as well. But just with everything that's happened, leaning into this, going up there on the road, and finding a way to get a W, yeah, I think that would be a pretty special one for Ryan.
I asked Schlegs this yesterday, and I didn't phrase the question right, and he fixed me on it. He corrected me.
Good. Yeah, how did you ask the question, and then how did he correct you?
It happened 24 hours ago, Bob. I don't know how I phrased it, but what I was trying to get at was, is it a sweeter feeling to win on the road in Ann Arbor than to win at Ohio State against Michigan? Which one is a sweeter feeling for you as a player?
How did you ask it, then?
I asked him. Okay, this is it. I'll paraphrase it here.
I don't remember either, to be honest.
Thank you. Then I can say whatever I want. But Bob, the way I kind of presented it to him was, do you enjoy playing against Michigan up there more than you enjoy playing against Michigan down here?
Yeah, that's not a bad way to ask it.
I didn't think so. Schlegs was working out. I think he had not a lot of action going to his head. It's okay. He's Schlegs.
Yeah, I mean, he does like that oxygen deprivation stuff, kind of similar to the autoerotic asphyxiation. So I could see him maybe not being like fully cognizant when he's talking to you and thinking. I don't know. It's like, who's your favorite kid? Like, that's
Arthur.
Literally the best way.
Oh, I'm sorry. Artie's my favorite kid. I thought you were asking me a hypothetical question. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't know. I would have to. We won up there in 05, and it was really special. And maybe it's because of how we won the game and everything else. We won 2 times at home, and those both meant a lot as well.
Right.
I don't know. I guess in 05 it was my last one, so that was such a big deal. And also, we were there, and a former teammate of mine, TJ Downing, who played at Canton Glen Oak, his dad played at Michigan, was offensive lineman. They were honoring, I think, their I want to say probably the 20th anniversary of their Big Ten championship team.
Right.
And I watched Walt Downing walk out there in between the first and second quarter. And TJ's like, he told us, he's like, watch this, dude. My dad is gonna do something sweet. And they're introducing like the whole deal. And they're all on a line, they're all waving. And then TJ's dad steps forward, who has his Michigan Letterman coat on, and in like full Ric Flair WWE fashion, like rips open the buttons and takes his coat off and has his son TJ's Ohio State jersey on, on the middle of the field, and everybody starts booing. It was the greatest thing I'd ever seen.
That's outstanding. You know, I know that Bob. That's kind of it's a blanket question, but it requires specific. Like Ohio State fans this year, and who was it? JLP, I think, wrote in the chat. You know, after 4 straight losses, Ohio State would a win anywhere would be fun for Ohio State over Michigan. And you, like, you know, if you're playing in 05 and it's your last time playing it, that might be a sweeter win than 4 or 3 or whatever. Yeah, I know there weren't all, but anyway. It kind of depends on the circumstance as well, but I just got to believe. I want to believe that players enjoy winning and shutting up those 110,000 more than a win in the shoe against Michigan.
Well, the only thing that sucks, and that's you're right, it's awesome. You walk out of there. The only thing that stinks is then you've got to shower up, and it takes like. It's a noon game, so it's nice. But let's say it gets over 3:30-ish, 4:35. Like, you're not getting home till like 7:30 that night. And that stinks because I want to get back down. I want to get out of there. I want to watch some games and get down to some steady drinking at that point. Like that, these guys don't do that, and they still have the Big Ten championship. We didn't have any of those things.
Right.
And so, like, we were drinking in the locker room after the game.
Be careful, Bob. Don't vacate losses. Be careful.
that was a win. So
I know.
I mean, we're not vacating that.
I just don't.
How is that against any rules?
I don't,
What
Bob. I don't know the
against?
rules.
The Geneva Convention?
It might be, Bob. I don't know. Look, I know the NCAA did some weird stuff with people selling their own property or trading it in for tattoos. I know the NCAA has these weird things. I just want to make sure, Bob, I'm not on the air and ever when something gets played out then and says Ohio State now is vacating every win in the Tressel era.
What's amazing? Do you think if you're in Nevada, and you said you can't sell your own property, but let's say you're selling yourself under the guise of being your college athlete, are you allowed to sell your own person if it's legal in that state?
I think so,
I mean,
Bob.
I don't know. I mean, that's an extra benefit. You would be able to do something that other students wouldn't be able to do. Like, could you wear your jersey when you're proposing that indecently to other folks?
Okay, how about this, Bob? We'll take it one step further. What if I?
Oh, really?
No, listen. I don't mean further that way.
How is there a further step than that?
Right. No, one step. Let's take one step sideways then.
Bringing a hamster or a gerbil?
With tattoos. A side nugget. Let's say I paid for a tattoo with my own money. Okay? I used my own money to pay for a tattoo. Then I realized they spelled Heather wrong on the small of my back. They forgot the A. So now I have to get it removed.
But you really can't see it, so it's not that big of a deal.
It's more exposed than you think, Bob. Try standing behind me in the grocery store line. You'll see a lot of the small on my back. But anyway, Bob, if I then took my gold pants and sold them in exchange for getting the tattoo removed that I paid for with my own money, would that be an NCAA violation back then?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, whether you're getting the tattoo or getting it removed, whether you got the gerbil for it or the gerbil extraction was used with that as the bartering tool. Like it doesn't matter. At least that's how I'm viewing it.
And Bob, don't think it's not lost on me. Look, you might be down in Portsmouth. I'm not sure. And if you tell me you are, I'm not going to say I believe you. But I asked you.
I'm actually at the Woody Hayes.
Are you at the Woody today? Oh, I didn't know that.
That's the background.
Okay, but I don't.
Yeah, I'm in the hallway. Look at AJ behind me.
It would not surprise me. I was going to make a joke there
Young,
about
James. Yeah, James
I was going to make a joke about AJ being behind you. I'm not going to do it, Bob, because I'm too classy for that. I figured you have that background wherever you are when you're not here. But you're not in studio Friday, right?
No, I'm going to be in Portsmouth again. So
you've creatively dodged bringing a pair of your gold pants in for me to see.
Yeah, I knew that when you asked yesterday or Monday that wasn't going to be the case. Like that was the last time you were seeing me that week. I've got 2 pairs at my parents' house. Will I be able to get a pair of them prior to Richard Pryor before the game? I don't know. Maybe Terrell Pryor before the game. I'm not sure.
All right. Here's Ryan Day.
That's my mom. She's the one that's got them. They're up to her.
Hey, don't take this the wrong way, but I got your mom's number. And Ryan Day spoke about how this week is fun being a head coach.
Like I say, fun is kicking ass, and that's what we want to do on Saturday. So we're preparing to do that, and that's it. Like there's nothing funny about this at all. But the fun part is winning. So we'll save the fun for being in the locker room and celebrating after the game. But the preparation is like that's what you love. You love the competitive part of this and everything that comes with it. And our guys came in Sunday, came in here yesterday, got work on their own, and even guys in the building today. I mean, they got a good bounce in their step, and they look forward to this week.
When Ohio State wins on Saturday, will Ryan Day have a Herb Brooks type moment where he gets away from everybody and just like leans against a wall and does this kind of thing? And
people don't forget about this. This wouldn't be his first victory over Michigan.
Right, no, it wouldn't be.
He's won one before.
Yep.
He won his first Michigan battle. And ironically, I would have to say this. He would have to be the first coach that his first 2 wins were both on the road. Because 2019 was up there on the road as well. I don't think another coach that would have had their first 2 wins would have been on the road, because usually you're winning a home one in there. So that would be a very unique element of it as well. So I don't think he walks away from it, but I do think that especially he seems much looser this year than in the last couple of years. You hear him at the press conference talking about it like he's being himself. So for everybody who's like panic, who has like needs a some sort of stress dog right now, a service animal when they're walking around this week. And like, seriously, like I'm telling you, I feel like the service animal situation is like gone up exponentially probably in the state of Ohio and in Columbus. But yeah, you need a service animal to help get his stuff right. Maybe not. I don't know. But he seems like a guy that is in a good spot right now.